Welcome to Release to Results. It's lesson 65 of A Course in Miracles, the workbook. Have you remembered your function? Are you the light of the world? And does the light of the world bring peace to every mind through your forgiveness? My function is the one God gave me. Lesson 65. Are you committed to your function? Salvation? Do you have another function than salvation? Does it seem like that? Is there something for you to do other than forgive? Does it seem like you're small and unable to perform your function of salvation? Well, the Course suggests that there is only one function you have, and that is the function the one God gave you. That function and the full acceptance of it, the full acceptance of salvation as your only function, necessarily entails two phases: the recognition of salvation as your function, and the relinquishment of all other goals you have invented for yourself. So, in this release today, we'll be going through some resistance to our function and also some allowance of our function, some commitment to our function. What is that function? Forgive ourselves, forgive the world, and therefore bring salvation. So, just holding this idea in mind, we'll begin now. Lesson 65. My only function is the one God gave me. My only function is the one God gave me. My only function is the one God gave me. And for full acceptance of this, could you just notice if you have any sense, any goal other than salvation, which you've invented for yourself? And there might be quite a few. I certainly have quite a few goals that are not that. So it's okay, without making right or wrong of what comes up for you. You simply acknowledge if there's anything it seems like you're here to do other than save through forgiveness. And whatever has come to mind, could you go behind the thought of that and notice this feeling, this energy that would have you doing something other than your function? Not that what you're doing may not be that function, just the energy behind it, noticing if there's something else driving it. And could you allow that up? And could you release that energy and be restored to your only function? Would you release that energy if you could to be in full acceptance of salvation as your only function? When could you release any energy that would block your acceptance and your commitment to salvation? And My only function is the one God gave me. Does it seem big to be that which is salvation to yourself and the world? Does it seem too big a task? Something not right sized for you? And could you just notice any sense of smallness, any sense of limitation, any sense of unworthiness of this task, of your function, salvation of the world? It's okay without judging it or moralizing about it, whatever comes up for you. You just notice any energy of smallness or limitation or unworthiness. And could you allow that energy up in the light that you are? It cannot be touched. It's safe. Could you simply allow up any of this energy that would have you deceived into your smallness or limitation or unworthiness of your function? Could you feel it? Be present with it. Acknowledge it. Allow it. It will not last if you let it come up into your light. And could you let go of this smallness, this unworthiness, this sense of limitation, that energy? Just could you let it go? That's yes or no. Either way is fine. Would you let go of this energy and be in acceptance of salvation as your only function? When could you let go and light the world? My only function is the one God gave me. There's nothing one can really do to stop it, perhaps delay it. Though if God gave you the function of salvation of the world, it must be. So could you notice any sense of that not being your function, you not being good enough, anything that would counter or delay your service, your being, your light? Seem small or unworthy? Seem unable in some way to fulfill your function? Just bringing up and acknowledging anything that would delay, any counter energy to you fulfilling the function God gave you, salvation of the world. And could you simply welcome what it feels like behind any of these illusory thoughts that would take you away from allowing this energy up, feeling it? Could you simply sit with this feeling, surrendering, turning it over? Nothing you have to change or do, just noticing some energy and surrendering what you notice. And could you surrender smallness or not good enoughness? Just could you? Would you surrender any energy blocking your full acceptance of salvation as your function? When could you surrender, turn over any smallness for your greatness? My only function is the one God gave me. There's no function other than that. So there may be something, if you're not aware of or fulfilling your function, may seem that way. There may be a commitment to something else. Is there any commitment to smallness, unworthiness, not being good enough? And without making good or bad of yourself, you simply notice what comes up for you. You open, allow, even embrace what's been carried other than your function. Could you feel what it feels like? Could you let it run out just by feeling it? And could you release any smallness, any unworthiness, any not being good enough, and restore your commitment to salvation? You never have to, and would you abandon smallness? Let it go for greatness, for God's function given you. When could you release and have full acceptance of your function, the one God gave you? And is there any resistance to your function? So your only function is the one God gave you, bringing peace to every mind through your forgiveness, lighting the world, salvation, your salvation, the world's salvation as one. Is there any resisting, accepting that function, refusing it, denying it, and just being open and allowing up anything that comes up for you? It simply brings it to the light that you are. Could you enlighten yourself by bringing up any resistance, any refusal, any denial of the function God gave you, resisting accepting salvation? And could you welcome up any of this absurdity, any of this illusion, any resistance to accepting salvation as your function? It's okay. It won't last. Could you let it up for now? And could you let go of that resistance, that refusal or denial of your function, Savior? If you could, would you let go of resisting the Christ in you? When could you let go of resisting your function as Savior? It's okay. It takes what it takes. Sometimes that may release. Sometimes there could be more. Just allowing yourself to enlighten as you release the resistance and accept your only function, the one God gave you. Your only function is the one God gave you. Salvation, forgiveness, lighting the world. And could you notice any resistance, rejection, or proving that's not so? There seem to be any attempts at claiming to be small or unworthy, any resisting your function, the one God gave you. And it's okay. We all do it. So without condemning or wronging or righting yourself, could you simply notice the energy of resistance, resisting your function, the one God gave you? Could you allow whatever seems to be happening, any feeling, to just be there, shining your light on it? The darkness cannot overtake the light, but you simply welcome, be aware of, and witness any resistance to your function that comes up. And could you surrender, turn over this resistance, this rejection, this energy? Would you give up, surrender, resisting the Christ in you? When could you surrender and accept the function God gave you? Your only function being the one God gave you. Through your light, bringing peace to all minds. Through your forgiveness. Do you remember your function? Salvation of the world, salvation of yourself, salvation of all. Your only function is the one God gave you. Is there still any resisting, refusing, rejecting, denying acceptance of your function of salvation? And it's okay. We all do it. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. Could you simply open up and acknowledge any of this resistance? We'll just call all that resistance to your function. Could you make that feeling come up more, enlightening what's been stored, what's been carried? Any of this resistance, could you let it up into the light? Nothing to fear. The darkness cannot overtake the light. Could you witness this feeling, this resistance to the Christ in you? If it cannot last, could you allow it up? Let it up. Let it be enlightened. And could you let it go? Drop the resistance. Let go and let the function God gave you be accepted. Would you let go of resisting salvation as your function? It's just a choice. When could you let go and let God? Will you remember your function today? The only function you have, the one God gave you? Will you light the world? Bring peace to every mind through your forgiveness? Will you be the light of the world, allowing the Christ in you, allowing salvation, accepting your function? You know, other things may come up today. It may seem like there's other goals than that, other commitments. Could you let your function shine through, light through whatever comes up today? If anything comes up, could you simply let it up, bring it to your light, save yourself, save the world through the Christ within, and let it affect all there is around you. Well done releasing. Thank you so much for being with us, light of the world. I'll see you in the next one.